Hi, my name is Fred Stokes. I'm a member of the USO Board of Governors, the Senior Vice President of Pro Sales and Services at Lowe's Home Improvement, and a proud veteran. I would like to personally welcome you to Transition to the Trades, presented by the USO and Generation T, powered by Lowe's Military. Lowe's and the USO have a 10-plus year history together focused on supporting the military community, honoring our veterans, and assisting causes like workforce development and affordable housing. We are incredibly excited to bring these virtual workshops to all USO centers worldwide. Today, you will hear from industry professionals about making a transition from the military life to potential lucrative careers in the skills trades, specifically careers in the construction trades, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, appliance repair, and more. By 2028, there will be over 3 million unfilled jobs in the skilled trades. Good paying careers for entrepreneurs looking for stability and work life balance. Today, for every 5 tradespeople that leave the skilled trades, only one person is waiting to fill that opening. This is called a labor crisis in the construction industry, driving up production costs and extending the amount of time to build new homes and provide services like air conditioning repair. Recognizing these issues, Lowe's created Generation T in 2018 to help revitalize the skilled trades and creating career opportunities for people like you. Generation T is a collaboration of over 80 national partners working to influence how Americans view skilled trades careers. Providing education about potential careers and information and connections to training programs and local businesses looking to train up and coming professionals. Our hope is to provide you with information and opportunities to help make the transition a little bit easier. We hope that you enjoy the following program and find the information helpful. From all of us at Lowe's, congratulations on taking the first step and best of luck to you as you move forward in your journey.
All right. Thank you, Fred, for the warm welcome. And thank you all for joining today's session to learn more about career opportunities in the skilled trades. My name is Lauren Norman, and I am from our Lowe's Pro Customer Engagement team here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we are so excited that you have taken time out of your busy schedules to be here with us today to learn more about a career pathway as a tool rental mechanic. So, as Fred had just mentioned, our country is facing a massive shortage of skilled trades professionals. And we have an aging workforce that is mainly comprised of baby boomers who are retiring in record numbers. The supply of new talent that's entering our workforce does not and will not meet our industry demand. Unfortunately, over the past 30 years, our American pop culture has portrayed the trades in a negative manner, and there is a stigma and a negative perception of working in the trades, and the trades being seen as a less than career path that's not equal to a 4-year degree. And that is not correct, right? So we are here to change that. And when our data, when we look at, what do these younger generations, what do they think? What do they feel? It's showing us that it feels that it's a threat to their identity, and it would make them ordinary and bland to go into the trades. And only 5% of parents today are even recommending the skilled trades as a career pathway to their child. So we know that there's lack of awareness in schools, which will just continue to amplify as we think about the 3 million job openings in the next decade. So we know that we need to take action today. That is why we formed Generation T. The T stands for trades, and it's really focused on rebuilding and revitalizing our skilled trades workforce to create our future generation of trades professionals. So we are on a mission today to inspire, educate, and connect you with the rewarding career in the trades. And really, it all starts today. You are here, you're ready to learn more, and we're very excited that you'll get to hear from industry professionals. When we think about the trades, there are so many opportunities. You get to really enjoy what you do while earning a great living. You can support your family. You can have a great work-life balance. You can have a flexible schedule. You can interact with others in your community. It's a great way to be able to help others. And you can even become your own boss and run your own crew. You have already acquired many of the professional skills in the service that will set you up for success. There are so many doors and opportunities that are waiting for you as you consider what is next in your career. The possibilities are endless, and as we talk about the tool rental mechanic pathway, it's really a great kind of niche role, not something you may necessarily see out there in the industry. So we're really excited for you to be able to learn more. So we invite you to take a moment to just watch a short video that highlights how the trades are not a thing of the past and very much a part of our future. In the trades, you use technology and innovative solutions every day to build, create, and master the art of your trade. We are Generation T.
They said our capes didn't show to enough class to be heroes. They said we were the butt of the joke because we didn't attend their Ivies. But they forgot to mention, debt is not the prereq to living the dream. You don't have to lean on a desk when you have the drive to design your own league. By design, these hands summon creativity. Technology and trade, two converging paths, Mother Earth and Mother Board, shaping the terrain for the next generation. We are the rightful journeymen, the waymakers. When the banks crash and the stocks fall, we set the bearings straight, scrape our knees on sunbeams, hold families together within the framework of our mind, turn businesses into our business. With the vision that keeps the lights on, we build a better world out of thin air. This is the what if for the future masters of trade. The electricians and bricklayers, solar power technicians, energy auditors, tiny home builders for the ones who don't care about the color of a collar. Craftsmanship is a calling. What if the naysayers were so worried about making it in society, they forgot to value the hands that make the society? What if you could live the life you've always dreamed right from where you are? Your career choice isn't a matter of right or wrong. It's a matter of knowing what you can do. There's work to be done. Are you ready?
Oh boy, I don't know about you, but I got goosebumps over here. If that's not a hype video, I don't know what is. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I'm so excited for you to join us for this transition to the trades workshop. My name is Mike Piper. I'm an Air Force veteran. I served 6 years in an aerospace ground equipment mechanic in the Air Force, and then made the most likely journey to HR here at Lowe's, and now I head up our military affairs team here. Super excited to be here with you today and talk about different areas in skilled trades, specifically the tool rental and small engine mechanic opportunities. But we really want to focus in and show you 3 real reasons why skilled trades, right? So there is a ton of opportunity in this industry that is coming up. And I don't know if the service members that are coming out really know that. And that's what this is for. I'll tell you, I didn't know this, but there are over 3 million jobs going to open before 2028. Just think about that a second. 3 million jobs. It's quite a few jobs by 2028. The second part is, look, we all want to be our own boss someday, right? You want to be a veteranpreneur. You've been in the military, you've been told what to do, where to go, where to sit, what to eat. Now you want to run your own business. 11%. Right? You can own your own business in this, and it's the backbone of the economy. And then you also have an opportunity to master many skills in a new career, in a new trade. I'll tell you right now, I'm a hobbyist. I love woodworking. That is my hobby. And I get so excited when I can actually take on a new project, try a new dovetail, try some new skill, and actually give it a shot and see what I can learn and what I can do. Those are really 3 really good reasons to go ahead and have transition service members and their families consider a second career in skilled trades. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next slide here, and we're going to talk a little bit more here about the different career pathways for transition veterans into the skilled trades. Wow, that is a big list. I think I would say the possibilities are endless with this list. It is a very, very long list, from carpentry to electrical, equipment operation, exterior installation. You have site management, you have plumbing, you have engineering. I think these are all fantastic opportunities that you really can take a look at and really kind of go and dive deep into as far as it goes, with different opportunities for you and your family in the skilled trades industry. I want to go ahead and go on to the next slide for me, Sonny, really quick. What we'll do is we'll continue to talk about this, but what I want to do first is I want to bring up 2 really good points, and then I'm going to bring in a really good friend of mine from here at Lowe's to kind of talk a little bit more about Lowe's and Lowe's tool rental. First and foremost, I've seen a few questions go into the chat section, but if you have any questions, please make sure you pop them into the question and answers. We're going to take a time and we're going to actually answer all of your questions. We're going to have a fireside chat here soon. So make sure you get them in there. No questions off limits. Go ahead and ask those questions away. We're wanting to answer your questions about transitioning into the skilled trades. The second point is I don't even know if you know that Lowe's has tool rental, mechanic opportunities, or that we have a tool rental space. So I'm super excited to bring my good friend, even though he's a Navy guy. So, you know, Air Force, we got to be kind of careful with it. But I'm really excited to bring in one of my good friends here at Lowe's, JT. And JT is going to talk to you about Lowe's tool rental and the opportunities that could be there as a small engine mechanic. So JT, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then we'll get going with a little bit of a chat here in a little bit. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was going to say, Mike, you know, I'm making fun of you already. I said, you know, you told me you were going to speak a little slower so I could comprehend a little bit better. But I thank you for the transition. And I've got to start. I'll tell you what. In putting this presentation together, I've gone through this, you know, many times, and we're trying to come up with, you know, the right words to convey. And I have to say, I'd like to start this with a story, because as we're going through the videos, as everything is taking shape, I wasn't sure how this was going to hit me. And I've got to tell you a quick story about early on in my career. I had actually applied for a position with a company that was in heavy construction equipment. And I remember being very nervous, very, you know, apprehensive walking into that room that day. And I sat down in that interview, and I had a lot of experience coming out of the military. I had turned wrenches for a good number of years, but I was nervous about picking up a new skill set. And it was a product support role that required me to kind of get out in front of customer facing type issues. And I didn't know if I had the chops for it. And I'll never forget what was told to me in that room. The interviewer looked me dead in the eye and said, I didn't bring you in here for what you don't have. I brought you in here because of the skill set you do have. I can teach you how to sell. I can teach you how to work with customers. I can teach you how to get out and write reports. I can teach you how to present. But I cannot teach you how to have a love of working with your hands. And that is something that I want to make abundantly clear before we get into any of this, is the fact that you just have a passion, you have that desire, and you want to make the most out of it. And don't let anybody ever talk you out of that. All right, there are wonderful, wonderful careers, and we hope that there's one waiting for you here at Lowe's. As Mike said, we are pretty new to the tool rental space, Lowe's tool rental. What our role is what I love to say, we do cool stuff. We have an opportunity to work with a lot of products, a brand new fleet of products that we've got in there. And it's a turnover into pros and DIY customers, where we as mechanics, we want to make sure that those pieces of equipment are always ready to go for those customers. It's never, ever dull. We've got a broad assortment of anything you could really think of for the DIYer and the pro. The nice thing is we're really transitioning into more of a technological space and making our space more user-friendly for our customers. So there's a huge piece of that as well. And obviously, it starts with the people. And, I hope we get a chance to talk more about that as the night goes on. But the people really help make the product. And so much of what Lowe's Tool Rental has going on right now, that is our big stride forward that sets us apart from the competition. So as we transition here to the next slide, in a nutshell, what does a tool rental mechanic do? They're responsible for the day-to-day maintenance of the equipment in the tool rental department, gas, battery, electric, pneumatic products. So basically, if you think soup to nuts of what you would find that you might be looking for as a homeowner, or if you happen to know someone, or if you are in that contractor space, those particular items, we're responsible for making sure those items are set and ready to go every single time. The training that's required there, we do provide in-house training, and through a lot of our vendor partners, it's a recurrent training. So what we provide in-house, in addition to what our partners are providing, to transition those military skill sets over into the rental skill set and the rental space. And again, I know, Mike, I think you mentioned that too. Job growth, I know Lauren mentioned it as well. Where we're looking right now, the growth is very, very high. It's a great space to get into. And the nice thing is really the sky's the limit. It is a foundational role to get in the door. And if you love doing that, do it for the rest of your career if you have a passion for it. If you want to use that as a stepping stone to pursue a career within Lowe's, it's a wonderful way to do that as well, and kind of learn as you go and grow into that space. And I guess we'll roll to the next one. So in a nutshell, the big part of what I'd like to focus on down here is in that lower left side, the tool rental mechanic skill set. So if you're asking yourself, hey, I'm coming out of the military, what does that mean? What do I have to offer? I'm coming out, I may have been in aircraft construction. I may have been in, some type of hydraulic systems. I may have been in ground support equipment. How does that relate? How can I get actually that skill set to roll over to the tool rental space? Well, first and foremost, the technical ability, as we talked about. You have that desire to work with your hands. We want to make sure that we nurture that and we help you grow. The mechanics are truly keeping the heartbeat of the fleet alive. And that's something that is near and dear to my heart. And that's something that we know and we have actually identified that we have got to maintain to keep us ahead of the competition. Problem solving, all right? The troubleshooting skills, even though it may have been on, you could have been, as we called in the Navy, a BB stacker, where you were going in and you were in charge of ordnance. That troubleshooting skill set, obviously you're in a high risk category. You're having to work under pressure. All of that will roll over to this piece. The creativity side, we are always working with our vendors and we're trying to offer suggestions of what makes our product even better. What can we do to help our customers and they get a better experience from us when they're a part of Lowe's Tool Rental, the family of Lowe's Tool Rental. And then the variety, it is never ever dull. That is one thing I can promise you. If you don't want to do the same task over and over every single day, that is not an issue. As you can see in the picture there, everything from a skid steer 1 minute, you may be working down into a chainsaw the next. It's never boring and it's always going to keep you on your toes. The piece on the side, the potential career paths, these are just a few of the quick ones. But again, as we continue the discussion for the evening, I'd like to highlight a few more. Obviously, starting as a tool rental mechanic, rolling into a tool rental department supervisor or an area tool rental manager. And then again, that growth potential is there within Lowe's as you decide where your career path is going to lead. So again, looking very forward to talking to everybody tonight, and hope this gives you a brief overview and we'll keep on rolling.
All right, well, that means it's time for open discussion. My favorite part is a little bit of a fireside chat with JT. So we're gonna get to know JT a little bit more, a little bit about his career, how he got to where he's at as he came out of the military. And I love it, JT. You hit on a few things that retail definitely gives you, right? It's never the same. It's always different. It doesn't change. I remember my days in the stores very well, and nothing was ever the same. But I think let's start out by just telling us a little bit about your military background, how you transitioned out of the military and what you went into. But just give us a high-level overview of your military experience and how you transitioned out.
Absolutely, absolutely. From what I understand, the rate's not even the rate that I was anymore. That just dates myself a little bit of how long ago that was. I actually had hair back then too. But I actually was what they call an AMS in the Navy. So that's an aircraft mechanic structures. Started my career with VAW 110, which was for anybody that's Navy out there, what we call the RAG squadron. It was a training squadron. So basically, that's where pilots kind of learn what they're doing. Unfortunately, that means mechanics learn what they're doing really quickly because they beat the tar out of everything that's out there. So started my career with VAW 110. Actually went to boot camp Great Lakes, out to Memphis, Tennessee from there for my A school, and then out to San Diego, California, where I picked up the RAG. Transitioned from there to VAW 112, the Golden Hawks, which was an E2C Hawkeye squadron. And from there, spent 4 years, last 2 as a work center supervisor. And my transition out was immediately into aviation. I continued down an aviation path and actually became a licensed airframe and power plant mechanic by trade. So again, not to get in too deep yet, but just to touch on it, the emphasis I want to put on that is, again, working with your hands. Nothing says you have to stay in that same mold every single day of every single month of every single year. There's lots of growth potential that's out there for you. And that was just the first step in my transition.
Perfect. And you've gone a few different paths, right, to get to where you are here today, right, with Lowe's. So tell me just a little bit about what you do today at Lowe's and how you got started specifically kind of towards that path. You know, I know there's several journeys and you kind of touched on it with your hands and coming out, but there's been a few journeys, a few transitions. I always tell our service members, it's never just one transition. You're going to have a few of them throughout your years. So take us through just a little bit of how you got to Lowe's.
Yep, definitely. So upon the transition, when I became an AMP, airframe and power plant, my first transition, quote unquote, was over as an airframe and power plant technician with Bombardier Learjet, and ended up spending a little bit, close to 2 years with them before transitioning over to, believe it or not, turbine powered generators in the world of Big Yellow. So I always get a bunch of chuckles when I call it the world of Big Yellow, but Big Yellow construction equipment. So I started with turbine powered generators and marine engines. Ended up wearing about 7 different hats within that organization, and ended up turning over to the rental business. And I'll tell you what, it was pretty cool when you get to step out, get your boots dirty, get out there in the mud again, and start working with customers. And I really enjoyed that, transitioning from a technician space out to a product support role. From there, went straight into the heavy equipment rental, ended up running my own rental company for a couple of years, and then transitioned to the tool world. And spent about the last decade in high-end tool side with Snap-on tools. And I'll tell you what, an amazing opportunity that I had was giving back. It was in the technical education space, and obviously that is near and dear to my heart. To your point, Mike, every piece is a stepping stone. And I realized how much I appreciated teaching those that wanted to learn about turning wrenches. And that's a great, entry for Gen T. That's, I think, where Gen T is going. We love to be associated with Gen T, obviously. Been a huge help in helping us discover some mechanics. And it's really been a nice stepping stone for me to transition back into the maintenance space as the fleet maintenance manager.
Oh, that's awesome. Say Snap-on tools, and all of a sudden I was like back to my military days,
right?
And being a mechanic as an aerospace ground equipment. I'm going, oh, where's the truck? I need this broken tool fixed. Love it. And what's great about that, and GT, I know, you would divulge on this a lot, is that you started one place and then you ended up in a totally different place. And then you ended up in a totally different place. Like everybody has all these stepping stones, but you through like several years, you move towards an ultimate path. And it's not necessarily your first job that you get out of the military, no, but as you kind of start, you kind of grow and you kind of move forward and kind of keep going every single time. So let's take a step back and let's go back and let's talk a little bit about just the small engine mechanic roles, right? Let's talk about tool rental mechanic roles. What is it in the day of the life, a typical day look like for them? And what is it that makes that so different every day?
What's great about it is number one, again, the product lines. So again, upwards of 60 different product categories. The nice thing is, I'm the type that I always want to strive to be the subject matter expert in the next thing. I think a lot of military people are wired that way. Obviously, that's how we survive. You want to make sure that you have that opportunity to grow every single day. And that's what's great about Lowe's Tool Rental and the tool rental space, is you're always learning and you always have those engagements with our vendor partners. Where you're trying to get better and better at what you do. So it's not just you're doing the same task over and over. You're not just wiping things down and putting it back on the shelf. You're truly becoming a subject matter expert on every single tool in the fleet. And that's what makes you such a great asset to the rest of Lowe's Tool Rental, is you really want to get out there then and help our associates on the front lines, help our customers, help our pros. That's that it factor, as I like to call it, that gets you out from just turning wrenches behind the scenes and lets you engage at multiple levels every single day.
No, that's perfect. And I remember we were just recently together at an opening for a tool rental.
Right.
And I remember you showing me the back maintenance bay. And I remember telling you this, going, man, I wish I had this even in the military, because it was just super clean. It was all very organized, which we obviously had in the military, but it wasn't as big of a space as like they have there, which is fantastic. But you know, you showed me this book, and I remember you saying, and you just said, come experts in the field and experts in the tools. And I remember that book was like, it was pretty thick, and it was awesome to see the detail that was in there. So let's talk about that. How, you know, with that level of detail, how would somebody get into this industry? How would somebody get that training? What are some of the things that they can do to kind of get knowing and kind of know a little bit about doing this job?
I would say it all starts with a desire. We look personally to hire that desire, hire the passion. We can take you to that next level, and that's what's great about it. If you have that mechanical aptitude and you want to seek an opportunity like that, again, whether it's from a perspective of being a mechanic and enjoying your days as a mechanic every single day, we would love to have you. If it's something that is a foundation for a stepping stone into other roles, it's a great way to start and learn the tool rental business and learn Lowe's as a whole, where you can start as a mechanic, but then learn that front side too. So you learn that operational piece and maybe transition into that department supervisor, maybe grow into a field role. It's just got such limitless potential out there for people that have that passion. Again, it all starts with just expressing that desire to say, hey, I want to start by turning wrenches. I like what I do. There's certain skill sets that I really have right now, and it's okay if you don't have them all. All right, we'll get you there. We'll make sure that we bring you along with that recurrent training.
Perfect. I mean, we talk about it a lot, right? Like, you and I were service members. We know what kind of comes to the table with, well, service members, military spouses. Like, we know what they bring to the table because we lived it. We've been with them. But for individuals that may not have been a veteran or may not be surrounded by military spouses as they've gone through a certain amount of time with the military, what in your mind are those transferable skills from the military that could really lead really well into this industry and in tool rental and also retail in general? I mean, you can start with tool rental and then we'll move to retail.
Yeah, I mean, the tool rental space, and that's the great part about it too, is I think the structure of the military, where you are so used to and ingrained in that process of using publications all the time. There's a method to the madness. All right, you do it that way or someone usually gets hurt. It's a great foundation for that piece. Obviously, safety is number one. That is something that we do not compromise on safety. And a lot of the people transitioning out of the military understand that. They've been exposed to that type of culture. They preach that type of culture. So that's that very first step of getting that start within that maintenance space. Another piece that transitions out of the military, I've got to say, is leadership. Because even though it may not be direct leadership of direct reports, you are going to be training a lot of those people, those associates that don't have all the product knowledge that you have. So when you become that subject matter expert, being able to lead, being able to engage those people and teach them what you know. And I think that comes very well from people with a military background. They understand what had been like to work their way up the ranks and finally get to that point where now, I'm being looked at, where I'm showing the way. That's where our mechanics really fit in too. So those two real big strengths will go very, very far in the tool rental world.
Oh, that's perfect. No, I always say, and I have a joke that some people find funny, some people don't, but there's things that you do in the military and there's things that you do in retail. And there's stuff that's very similar. And the main two things we do in both is extremely similar. And that's lead people and move boxes. Because that's what we do in retail and that's what you do in the military. You're always moving boxes and you're always leading people. So there's a lot of similarities. Let's take a step back and let's we've talked a lot about career. We've talked about what kind of transitional skills are in this. where do you see kind of the industry going here in the future? Like, let's talk a little bit about that, because that's a huge thing for some of us, is we want to know what we're getting into and where the growth is, right? So where's the industry going?
Yeah, I think, it's as close as an industry magazine away or a construction magazine away to see where everything is going. And again, if you follow any of the news broadcasts out there, obviously anything powered by electricity is huge. So EV is enormous in this space, and I think it will be going forward as well. The other part of it is the technology. If I could tell you that right now that the chainsaws that we have on the shelf actually have a scan tool that we actually collect data from and program with. That's something a lot of people would look at and say, hey, maybe I come from a more of a computer background out of the military. I had a little bit of that wrench turning side, but it was more technical. Again, that is a big piece of where I see the industry going. We're getting a lot more power out of a lot smaller units now. Everything is downsizing. So again, we're trying to capture that next piece. And all of those things are just those innovations leading the way. We're seeing it in the auto industry, and it does spill over into that rental space.
Yeah, I remember, and I bring this up just because I remember when I first went into the military, and I was only in for 6 years, but I went in and I remember getting one piece of equipment that was new, and it was huge, and it did this one task, and it was nitrogen. So we filled the aircraft tires with nitrogen, right? Yeah. So big old machine that it started out with, and then by the time I left 6 years later, this new one showed up, and it was like 1/4 the size, and it was about this big, but it was all ran by a computer. And I remember just looking at it going, wow, that's kind of cool, but also like, that's going to be a pain. But at the same time, it's just cool to learn how technology and trades are merging just in this ecosphere to create more productivity, to create more better tools, better environmental tools, and tools that actually perform better.
Right. And if you think about it, Mike, too, we don't want to hire everybody with the same background. That's why it's great to be able to pull from military, where we're learning from the best practices of what everybody brings to the table. I would rather not pick from a pool of 50 of the same category. Give me those outskirts, give me those people that have those one-off skill sets, because again, it's a great way for us to learn together and build, and grow. I mean, it's a great path.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this is a perfect time for us to segue over to one of our questions in our question and answer section, because I think it's great. It's one of those that you just kind of touched on just a little bit, but it's something that I am a little bit passionate about too, because I said in the beginning, you have several different transitions throughout your career, even after post-career military. So we have a great question that is, would my trade skills education that I learned in the military still be relevant if I haven't worked in the field for over 10 years?
They would be. And again, I think what's happened in those 10 years, again, that's another stepping stone. You may find that those skills actually do transfer more so than maybe somebody would think. But again, coming back from, we actually have one person, I'll use a perfect example. We have a technician of ours, a mechanic, who was former Army Special Forces. And he's one of my very best mechanics right now. But again, it doesn't come from the fact of him turning wrenches in the military. It comes from that military bearing. It comes from the fact that he's absolutely meticulous in what he does. So every stepping stone adds value. And that's what we look for within Lowe's Tool Rental, is that value adder from a candidate of what they're going to bring back into the space.
Yeah, but no, that's perfect. And I think I would agree. I mean, you can transition several times, and 10 years ago, yeah, it was a little different, but at the same time, you bring a new perspective. And that's really where it all boils down to. So we've got a lot of questions in the chat. Some of them I'm going to hit at the end. Some of them I'm going to hit all at once and just say, hey, this is, because there are a lot of great questions, but a lot of them are specific to some training opportunities. And I see, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and acknowledge DoD SkillBridge. Yes, we have DoD SkillBridge programs. I see that in here 3 or 4 times. So I want to say right now, we do. And if you're interested in DoD SkillBridge and participating in a DoD SkillBridge with Lowe's, email us at militaryrecruiting@lowes.com. Once again, that's militaryrecruiting@lowes.com. And we'll put that up towards the end here, so you can have it on a slide so you can actually copy it down. But from a training perspective, from an area of being able to learn in this space as well as others at Lowe's, reach out to us at militaryrecruiting@lowes.com. We'll help you out with that DoD SkillBridge portion, because there are a lot of different things that go into that. So we will give you a one-on-one experience and really help you understand what we have as well as what you can learn from us. So let's talk about that, because JT, you weren't in when DoD SkillBridge came out. I wasn't in when DoD SkillBridge came out, and I didn't get out that long ago. It's such a new program, but it's a really cool program. But for those individuals that can't take part in a bridge program like that, what is some of the suggestions that you would have for them to increase or improve their career progressions from tool rental up, or even from anything and moving up as you transition out?
Yeah, and I know these are old ones, but I've got to say, never stop improving, never stop that you're going to get to that spot where you want to keep going. Always look for that next opportunity, whether it's computer-based training, whether it's learning those management skills, whether it's you're going to get to that spot where you're going to feel like you're at a plateau. Look for that next leap. There are people out there that will help you. And that's one thing I have to say, as far as the Lowe's team goes, there's always something else out there. And if you tap into that, those paths are out there. It's probably a great time to mention this. And I've got to name drop a few on this one, because it means a lot to me. And you and I have had a lot of conversations, Mike. And, what really I like to showcase, and I think it's very, very important for the audience to realize, is, when you come into Lowe's Tool Rental, and you look at the leadership organization that we have, and you look at the amount of skills that we have coming out of the military. I talked about the mechanic I've got, here locally, former Army Special Forces. I've got another one that I know, a mutual friend of ours, Air Force. Our director is actually on the fleet team. Terry Kavarik is a Marine Corps vet. All the way up through the ranks, we've got a department supervisor here. We heard from Fred Stokes earlier, all the way up to Joe McFarland, who is a Marine Corps vet, and he's our executive VP of stores. That just gives you the level of potential that's out there when you join Lowe's and you join Lowe's Tool Rental. And I think that's probably that critical piece of when you're looking at, what your career path means. Start looking at what it's going to take to get to not just the position you're seeking, but the one beyond that. Where do you want to be 5 years, 8 years, 10 years down the road, and work toward that?
I love that, because you actually answered a career growth progression question that was in there for me. We didn't even have to touch on it, but yeah, it's, at Lowe's, we have over 20,000 plus veterans and military spouses, and it is very hard to not throw a football anywhere in a building and not see one, right? Like camo vests are everywhere. You'll see patches. Military spouses have patches on their vest. It's something that's really cool to see. And you hit a few people that I love talking about. Joe's one of them, because he just started as an hourly associate with Lowe's and now runs all of our stores, started in retail as an hourly associate. Sorry, let me make sure I correct myself on that. And then moved all the way up. But there's just so much different career opportunity, not just with us. And I think this is more of just in general, like you made a good point of focus on where you want to go in the end and figure out how you start there. That's one of the biggest and hardest things to do when you transition out of the military, is understand that, yeah, this is where you want to go, but how do you get there? I remember when I got out, I walked through a career fair, and I saw a guy behind a table, he's helping veterans, and I was like, that's what I want to do. But I was a mechanic. I applied to about 10 of them. I got shot down to all of them, and finally realized that I had to, make a progression up. So for somebody, that is looking at you, right? Looking at JT, you're a tool rental mechanic manager of maintenance for a Fortune 50 company. And let's say they're in the military and maybe are, an engineman chief, or maybe not in a skilled trades industry. Give us a little bit more knowledge. And I know we've touched on it a little bit, but let's talk a little bit more about just that more career progression. What is it that they can really do specifically to excel in certain roles to keep moving forward?
I'll tell you what, and if you'll indulge me on this, there's a piece of this that I love to say what it meant to me, because I think, it highlights a lot of what you're talking about. And a piece we haven't really mentioned yet is a culture fit. When you transition out of the military, you're so used to that structure of working with brothers and sisters that are family. It becomes that just aha moment that you just you look for, and you say, do I belong here? When I first started with Lowe's, the very first day, now keep in mind, I joined Lowe's when we had nobody, so it was COVID. Go into the Lowe's campus, so it's a beautiful, wide open, gorgeous facility. I go into the only open door, the only open building, and I'm walking in there to do my drug screen. And you walk down this long hallway, and there's several doors, and I'm just kind of taking it all in, and I'm looking around, and I'm seeing what's there. I make it through that next, I almost called it a bulkhead. That just shows you how long it's been since I've been out of the Navy. But you get through the next door, and there's a receptionist over on the right-hand side. So I had turned over there and I had checked in. Gave her my name, told her what I was there for, and I turned around, and there's 2 windows that look out to the pond with a waterfall. And in between those 2 windows was a display case. And you and I have spoken about this before. And as I approached the display case, the hair on the back of my neck starts standing up as I tell this story, because it got me emotional. I'm 3rd generation military. Both of my grandfathers served, one Army Air Corps. My father was in the Navy. He was a scope dope on a P2V and on Willie Victor's, and I followed in his footsteps in aviation. I walked up to that display case and I saw all of the nice accolades and statues and things that had been presented from various military organizations, including the USO. And it had 2 vests down at the bottom. It had a red vest and it had a camo vest. And I hope you can tell, it's in my voice now because it chokes me up, because that's that moment that I knew my career was in the right spot. I knew that was the right transitional step for me to be able to take my skill set that I had garnered over the last 20 plus years, not dating myself, and roll that into a new and exciting career and a new opportunity within Lowe's Tool Rental. And I think a lot of people, I hope that it would resonate with many people separating from the military service.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. We've talked about that, Trevor Case. One of my favorite things about sometimes the office is that's not the only one either. And I know you haven't been too far through the office because of COVID, but there's about 3 or 4 of them throughout the office that have just so much of our memorabilia around military and supporting the military. And it's a really, really cool thing that it is all over the place. It's not just in that one spot. It really does tell you just how much that there is a military culture at Lowe's. So let's go ahead and I think we've talked a lot about this. We've talked about training. We've talked about going into the skilled trades area, as far as like tool mechanics. But let's go ahead and move on from the chat, and let's talk a little bit about the rest of the skilled trades industry, and then we'll kind of tell the folks how they get in touch with myself, and how they can actually move to a career in small engine mechanics, or just in Lowe's in general, or possibly present anything with us to kind of participate, to maybe become a part of Lowe's. So Sonny, if you don't mind, I'd like you to queue up that next one as I answer this last question that I have in here, and because I don't want to not talk about it, but I do want to say that there's a question in here about pay. What I will tell you about pay for any of our roles at Lowe's is that we stand on the table and we scream as loud as anybody else. So that is what I'll say about pay for any of our roles, pay for tool rental, mechanic occupations, anything like that. Do yourself a little research online, and what I'll say, Lowe's is always at the table screaming. But let's talk a little bit about some benefits past in the training piece that could potentially help you as an individual here at Lowe's. So one of the great things is if you're really interested in attractive trades, but you don't really want to spend the money to get the apprenticeship piece, or what we call it's actually a pre-apprenticeship piece with this program, but you can become a Lowe's associate. And after 6 months of being with Lowe's, even as a part-time associate, you can participate in what we call Track to the Trades. Track to the Trades is a program where Lowe's completely funds your pre-apprenticeship certification program in 5 key areas. So carpentry, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and appliance repair. We take care of that for you. We get you the books that you need. We get you set up with online education, and we pay for it. It provides you an opportunity to jumpstart your career in the skilled trades, and there's multiple career paths after that you can experience. It is a phenomenal program. It allows you to learn a little bit more, be able to get that pre-apprenticeship there, and then if you'd like, go get your apprenticeship. Go do an apprenticeship with one of our providers. It is totally up to you. The door opens. You can go do entrepreneurship. You can start your own small business, whatever it may be. You're going to be able to do anything that you really want from that path. So a lot of great questions today. I'm super excited. I want to say thank you to JT for joining me tonight. I know I give him a lot of grief throughout our times, but I really do appreciate it, sir. Thank you for coming by, and I'll let you have, if you have any wrapping up kind of remarks or anything before we jump into telling them how to contact us.
I do. If you indulge me for about 3 minutes, this is a cause that's near and dear to my heart, and you know that, Mike. And having this opportunity to come out and speak with everyone today, I've got to say, we all started. Obviously, if we're here, we have an interest in the technical trades. We want to pursue that. We want to take what we learned in the military and press that forward. I'd be willing to bet that many of the people that are interested in those spaces had a mentor along the way that got them into that space. They taught them the ropes. They showed them the ropes. They nurtured that piece to develop that drive. Don't ever, ever, ever let somebody tell you that is not a viable career path, is working with your hands. I am a product of my father was taught high school shop classes for 38 years. All right. He's the most meticulous man I know, and probably the best craftsman that I've ever seen in my lifetime. All right. I don't hold a candle to him. Those experiences, those stories, those people that meant something to you. All right. Make sure you put that out there. Make sure that people know you have that passion. It's not a negative, it's a positive. And we at Lowe's Tool Rental, we're here to help you get to that next level with that passion.
No, that's perfect. I agree 100% with that, and can't disagree with you one bit. Let's go ahead and jump into the next slide, Sonny. I'm seeing some last minute questions come in. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure we get to you. Juan, I appreciate it. Yes, we care very deeply about our veterans, and we really do try to do everything we can for not only our veterans, but our National Guard, for military spouses. We really, truly try to make sure that we are there to support them, as well as first responders. We really do want to make sure that we are in our communities and we are supporting even during these times today and the times in the future. So really appreciate that sentiment that you gave to us there in the question side. So let's talk about next steps. So you can learn more about the trades, right? wearegenerationt.com, phenomenal website. You should check it out. It's got a lot of different opportunities there. You can take an assessment. You can find out more about the different lines and different trades that are out there. To learn more about Lowe's Tool Rental and Lowe's Rental in general, as we open up these across the country, you can go to lowes.com/rental. So we're going to have a lot of opportunities in the next 18 months, and I highly suggest keeping an eye on jobs.lowes.com if you're interested in careers as well. You can connect with your USO Pathfinders transitioning specialist to navigate the transition into the trades. Look, if I give you one piece of advice and you take it out of this thing tonight, get with your USO Transition and Pathfinders program. It is the best thing for you. They support you fully. We go and talk to those classes. They have connections with our local Lowe's associates across the country, as well as other companies if Lowe's isn't for you. Because look, and at the end of the day, all we care about is you getting a good job coming out of the military and you being able to transition seamlessly without having any heartache to you or your family. So definitely check out USO Pathfinders, become a part of that. It is a great, great program. And last but not least, if you really want to talk to one of us here at Lowe's about opportunities, and you want to have a conversation with us, militaryrecruiting@lowes.com. We'll set up 30 minutes. We'll talk to you about transitioning out of the military. We'll talk to you about the skilled trades industry. We're all veterans or military spouses on that team, and we want to make sure that we help you in whatever way we can.